welcome. I am very excited to be here for this big announcement on the repurposing of the Pleasant Grove School. This is an old school, an old charter school here in the city of Lansing that's been closed for a number of years in really bad shape. It's kind of a blight in Southwest Lansing. We've been doing a ton of work on improvements, on community improvements, on parks and other things here in Southwest Lansing as one of our neighborhoods of focus and priority. And now we're going to see this older school building rehabbed and restored and replaced with this incredible new housing project with these office facilities, potentially medical center. So it's going to be a tremendous investment and very big excitement for Southwest Lansing. We do work all over the city, and we're looking to grow the city all over town, all 4 wards, whether you're downtown, northwest, east, or south. But we're certainly putting a lot of resources into Southwest Lansing. I'm excited that Joel Ferguson and his team are here and redeveloping this building and doing so much work in this area. So we're very excited and looking forward to approving this, sending it to City Council, and getting the structure approved, and then getting it built.
This project checks so many of those really critical boxes. So when we talk about, how do you help people ascend from their circumstances? In Southwest Lansing, we have a number of people that have been disadvantaged for a very long time. And when you think of, folks being cut off from access to reputable healthcare, access to reputable financial services, we can be considered a banking desert. We can be considered a healthcare desert in Southwest Lansing. In some areas, even potentially a food desert. And also there's this other reality that we're dealing with a lack of access to good, affordable, appropriate, respectable housing. And so I think this project really has the promise of checking all of those boxes. And so that is a rarity, certainly a rarity for Southwest Lansing, but we just couldn't be more excited about this project.
Okay, it looks like we're about ready to get started. Okay, once again, I want to sincerely thank everyone for coming out on such a beautiful snowy day here in Michigan. Tonight, I guess it's supposed to get quite cold, so 6 weeks left, I believe, is what I heard on the radio this morning. And if you believe that, I've got to talk to you on the side over here. My name's Christopher Strakowski, and I am the project manager for Ferguson Development, which is spearheading the redevelopment of the former Pleasant Grove Elementary School, which is located on the corner of Holmes and Pleasant Grove. I believe the building was built in about 1923, and it is a tank. It was actually signed and designated a bomb shelter back in the days when you had to prepare for an event for safety. That being said, we started this process working with those at the Land Bank, Ingham County Land Bank. I see Roxanne is out there, as well as Dave and Eric. Thank you for coming. And so we've worked our way through COVID. We worked our way through different types of activities, working with the groups on the south side of Lansing, SSCC and SWAG. And I see some representatives here in the crowd. Again, thank you for coming. And it's been a process where we've engaged the community where the community wants to be engaged, as opposed to being a developer where we have something in mind and then we go about looking at what type of programming. We've sort of flipped this on its side, and we said, okay, what does the community want? What does the community need? And based on different types of surveys, different discussions, the Zoom meeting, which I love, we've determined that there are certain gaps in services that are located in this area or that are not located in this area. And we're looking at an envision of taking this building and turning it into a spot or a place, a location that the neighborhoods could utilize for access to resources, to access for empowerment, be it financial empowerment, be it educational empowerment, healthcare empowerment. So all of those pieces that make a community strong, we're looking to program in this particular building. Justice equity is another component that is sort of moved itself almost to the front of the line when we talk about how our communities, how our citizens interact with each other in the neighborhoods, citywide, and it's also going to be one of those very important components moving forward in terms of a program at this site. That being said, I do want to just reach out and say thank you. Other speakers will acknowledge, but I want to make sure that we reach out to message makers, the individuals that have set up this beautiful opportunity here in this auditorium. Tina and her team, Dorian. I want to acknowledge Liz Bryan, my intern, who does a great job day in and day out putting up with me. I want to thank my wife, let's say the same thing, putting up with me. And I also want to welcome the mayor and the media to this event. That being said, I'd like to introduce Mayor Shore. And can I ask you just to silence your devices, please? Thank you.
I'll take this off. This is exciting. I am thrilled to be here today. A few years ago, Joel Ferguson approached me and Christopher, and they talked about South Lansing, Southwest Lansing specifically. And I told him it was a priority of mine that we grow this part of town, that we grow the whole city, but this is a part of town that has not had the same resources in the past. And he read to me the same speech. He told me this is what he loves, and he wants to see the growth here, and he wants to leave his impact. And Joel, I appreciate that. You had that vision, and we were able to work together to really make sure that we can make it a reality. When we stood maybe a year or so ago, when the new town square was being finalized, and you looked around, you could see that this was an area that was getting a lot of love, but there was that one corner that was a blight. That was a school at one time, but had been held for many years. The land bank tried to move it and to grow that area, but had not been successful. So when you look at that and you see that blight, and now you look at some of these pictures here and you see what could be coming, it's tremendously exciting. It's tremendously exciting. This is an area of town that deserves this kind of growth, that deserves everything that Christopher just talked about, the healthcare, the education, the housing. These are folks who live in this neighborhood are very proud neighbors, and we're providing them with more growth. So I'm really very excited. I want to thank my economic development team. I know that they worked really hard with the Ferguson team to make sure that this day could happen. We're going to hear from many community partners who can talk about the history, but I am really very happy we were able to bring this over the finish line to get this project. Today, we send this to City Council. Our Brownfield board and our LEDC has approved it. Thank you, Calvin Jones, the now past president, which I didn't realize, of the LEDC, and thank you to Carl and Chris and our staff. This is tremendously important. I want to welcome out to at least two of our department directors here, Delisa Fontaine, who's our Neighborhoods and Citizen Engagement Director and has done a lot of work here, Chief Ellery Sosby in the back, trying to not be seen, but really just incredible work for all of you, and I want to thank you. So now it's my honor to introduce our City Council President. He's also the 3rd Ward City Councilman, and like I said, has a passion for this area. It's been great to work with him, Adam Hussein.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. I am a teacher. I project, and I really don't like using microphones, but we'll go ahead and use it. Thank you so much, Mayor Shore. I really appreciate that. What I really appreciated about some of the things he said is that, he really framed the conversation. I think you do a conversation like this really an injustice if you don't frame the conversation with some historical aspect. And when you talk about Southwest Lansing, I've actually lived in Southwest Lansing all 40 years of my life. As a matter of fact, when you think about the Pleasant Grove and Holmes corridor, I've lived behind essentially the fence, behind Vaughn's Market my entire life. And so when you talk about having an intimate understanding of the marginalization, the historical disadvantage when we talk about economic investment, I have felt that throughout the several decades I've lived in Southwest Lansing. Probably with, maybe about 5 to 10 years ago, that being said, some individuals and some groups were courageous enough to come together and to acknowledge first and foremost that this part of town and the people within this part of town have been historically cut off when you talk about economic investment, when you talk about blight elimination, when you talk about job creation, when you talk about equitable access to education and healthcare and the like. And even more important, they were courageous enough to get to work, to leverage the considerable talents of the team, to move the ball down the field. And over the past 5 to 10 years, let me tell you folks, we have worked. And if you look throughout Southwest Lansing, you're seeing really the fruits of some of those efforts. We have built playgrounds. We have brought online new parks, actually 2 new parks. We have engaged in small business support. We have been able to secure small business grants so that small businesses such as 1910 could, really engage in facade improvements and things of that nature. We have engaged in some of the most tremendous placemaking efforts that really you see across the region. And obviously, I think referenced earlier was the Town Square at Pleasant Grove and Holmes, but there's a number of other examples throughout Southwest Lansing that we could point to. We have engaged in physical infrastructure improvement, and we have engaged in social infrastructure improvement. We have brought together groups such as Rejuvenating South Lansing. We actually have the facilitator of RSL with us today. What a tremendous, tremendous force for change in Southwest Lansing. We brought online the Southwest Action Group. And there's so many other tremendous neighborhood groups and respective citizens that have just done a tremendous amount of work the past 5 to 10 years to move Southwest Lansing forward and then to make a project like this possible. And I know we're going to bring this ball across the goal line because we have worked incredibly hard. The folks here have worked incredibly hard. They have, and I'm going to thank a couple folks in just a minute for their unwavering commitment to this project. But the promise of this project is exciting, and folks in Southwest Lansing are excited. They're feeling supported, and they send me to obviously express their appreciation. That being said, I want to thank the administration, of course. I want to thank my colleagues on council. My colleagues on council have been tremendous. Even the ward reps, I am an unapologetic advocate for Southwest Lansing. And it would be easy for people to roll their eyes and say, oh my God, here this guy goes again, talking about Southwest Lansing. But they don't. They give me a call. They come into our meetings and they always ask, how can we roll up our sleeves and get to work to help you move this part of our community forward, because it's imperative, and I appreciate them. I want to thank the Lansing Economic Area Partnership. I want to thank Chris, in particular, Chris Klein. I want to thank Bob Trezise. I want to thank Hannah Bryant, who is no longer with LEAP, but has been an incredible asset here in Southwest Lansing. I want to thank Cambriana Gates, Tony Willis. I want to thank Terrell Christian. You guys have been fantastic, and I've appreciated the opportunity to work with each and every one of you. I want to thank the county, everybody from the land bank to our county commissioners to the health department. You guys have been tremendous as we've done this work over the past 5 to 10 years. Also want to thank the Lansing School District. Your work as an example with the Invest Health team, just absolutely transformational for Southwest Lansing. We appreciate it. I want to thank the Brownfield Authority, SWAG, RSL, who I've already referenced, our tremendous neighborhood associations, and then obviously the citizens of the city, or specifically Southwest Lansing, that I have just so much love for. That being said, I wanted to reserve my biggest measure of gratitude for Chris Strakowski and Joel Ferguson. Again, when you talk about an unwavering commitment, we started talking about this a few years ago, and it would have been incredibly easy for these guys and for their team at Ferguson Development to fold up their tents during what has just been an absolutely turbulent and difficult time with this pandemic and walk off into the sunset. And these guys did not do that. They have made the difficult and what seemed to be the impossible possible. And here we are today. And I just, on behalf of the citizens of Southwest Lansing, Chris and Joel, we're indebted to you. We really appreciate you all. Okay. That being said, I have the honor to introduce one of those fantastic colleagues that I've had the opportunity to work with. And even before his time on council, he's been a tremendous advocate for the South Side and really the larger community. So it's my pleasure to introduce new at-large City Council member Jeff Brown.
Wow, after Adam. A round of applause for his courageous tenacity. For me, being new to council, but being, a lifelong Lansing resident, this is so impactful because as I stood with SWAG, over the summers, and the rest of the community, Delisa with the neighborhood programs, cleaning up the trash in the neighborhood, working with, the neighbors, donating my time just as a resident to raise money for this side of the community, and then to have such a most powerful partnership, with the development group, and, and that really represents so much of Lansing as well. This is the springboard that is going to transform Southwest Lansing. And for me to be a part of it and all the sacrifices that, we make as a community and personally, this is what makes us smile and what makes the difference and keeps you with the fuel that you need to continue to press forward and love Lansing. So I'm honored to be here today. I just had this short. That's all I wanted to say personally. And I'm excited about this project. Ladies and gentlemen, Rachel White.
Thanks, Jeff. As you said, my name is Rachel White. I'm the president of Southwest Action Group. We came together in 2017 with a vision. Our biggest vision was we were tired of just getting lip service. We heard a lot of words. There were a lot of catchphrases used, but we didn't see a lot of action. So the group that started in 2017 was finally established officially in 2018, and as the Southwest Action Group, we turned those words into actions. So some of the things that you've seen in the area, I know Adam and Mayor Shore also mentioned many of the changes that have happened. Many of these things couldn't have even started without some of the things that we brought to the table. We have a foundation of over, I think, 2 to 3 dozen different support groups and networks that we have brought to the table to be able to say, Southwest Lansing's worth it. And we don't just say that as a community, but we can all say that together. And I think that's one of the biggest things to be able to take away, knowing that Joel Ferguson and his team have taken the initiative to invest in Southwest Lansing is mind-blowing. It's something that we knew would be pivotal and cause great change in the area, and we look forward to how it's going to serve the community in the way that we expected the community to be served when we were originally formed. So we look forward to them also focusing on some of our foundational values, which are family, health, and community. And one of the, since it happens to be a school where Malcolm X attended elementary school for a short time, I wanted to utilize one of his quotes. We need more light about each other. Light creates understanding. Understanding creates love. Love creates patience. And patience creates unity. It's through our patience that we intend to help grow the unity for Southwest Lansing and its future. Next up is our representative, Sarah Anthony.
Is there music playing? Did I get a soundtrack of here? Well, good afternoon. Oh, I love Lansing. I love Lansing. This day, this event is one of the reasons why I absolutely love our community. And if you see that I'm excited, it's because I really am. Not just because I get the opportunity to serve as Lansing State Representative, but because this project symbolizes us coming together to do something pretty revolutionary. And I use the term revolutionary because of the fabric of this project, and particularly Brother Malcolm X. Now, Malcolm X, as you all know, was a child in this community, walked up and down these streets. And I remember a few years ago, Councilman Hussein invited me to a swag meeting. And at this meeting, I think Christopher was there, I think Jennifer was there, and the community came together to start to envision what this project would look like. How we could, under the leadership of Joel Ferguson, how we could revolutionize this part of our city. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I am a South Lansing girl, born and raised. And Adam and I were talking in that meeting about how when we grew up on the South Side, we were hit with so much opportunity. Do you remember this, Adam? We talked about how at your left and at your right, we saw things that we could aspire to. We saw businesses and community centers that were there to embrace us. And over the years, the disinvestment, in some ways intentional disinvestment of the South Lansing, started to meet students with not so much opportunity. The blight became real. And when you are a young person and you do not see opportunity, that does something to your spirit. That does something to what you would consider your self-worth, because you invest in what you believe is a good, sound investment. And quite honestly, we have not had intentional investment in South Lansing. So today I hearken back to Brother Malcolm X. And when he was taking his early steps in our community, did he see investment? Was there blight or was there opportunity? And was that opportunity based on the color of his skin? Now, we know that if you've ever read the autobiography of Malcolm X, we know that his time in Lansing was not a pleasant one. We know that there were things that were done to him and his family that left a lasting legacy and not really a good one. And so I appreciate the spirit in which this effort is being pulled together, because in many ways, it is our ability to right the wrongs and the injustices that were left by the men and women in the community at that time. So I love the fact that whether it is the business community, nonprofits, all these organizations that are coming together and the leadership within our city government and our county government have done something pretty magical. And the last thing I'll say is I love the fact that at that meeting at SWAG so many years ago, the ideas and concepts that were brought forward around housing and around healthcare and around food access, the spirit of those ideas were listened to and were embedded in this project. So I'm just excited today just to be a cheerleader, to actually acknowledge the work that has been done, and to continue to move this project forward. So just know, for everyone is here, I thank you for being here. I thank you for investing in Lansing, and particularly South Lansing, and just know that I'll be here every step of the way. So thank you for allowing me to be here, and I have the distinct honor of introducing Mr. Joel Ferguson to the stage. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It's a great honor to follow Sarah Anthony, to be introduced by her. She's been a real giver and a person who's really working hard to make a difference here in Lansing. And so, Sarah, thank you very much. I enjoy the introduction. And I want to say this. I grew up, well, when I first got married, I lived in the colonial townhouses. We're right around the corner here. And something really great came out of that time I lived in colonial townhouses. And Christopher was kind of bashful not introducing his wife, Jennifer. But Jennifer, stand up. See ya. So she lived in colonial townhouses. And we really enjoyed being in this area, in this neighborhood, and everything else. And it's really great when you want to work on a real estate development and you have the leadership of a city and people who live in the area are reaching out and give you direction. And Adam Hussein, he's kind of a modest guy. He's really good. Now, we have something in common. We're both school teachers. I really enjoyed being a fifth grade teacher, and Adam really enjoys just being an educator. and he's doing that on the city council very good. And he was an educator for us in this development, because when we spoke up to talk about we wanted to have a presence and do something in Lansing, on the west side of Lansing, in South Lansing, Adam said, yes, we'd like you, but we don't want you to start off with housing. And I said, that makes sense, because the key thing is to build a neighborhood and build things and build residents or build buildings and everything else that people want to be around. And then you got the foundation to build housing after that in the neighborhood, because then it's a place where people want to move to and go to. Now, you know, a person who was extremely modest, and it's usually not that way at work either, Christopher, and he was very good as we were talking about working with Adam, finding out different businesses that are going to be the foundation that are going to locate over here, to where it's going to make the housing, after we build that, it'll be a go-to place and people want to be living here and everything. And so it was really great with the leadership of Mayor Andy Shore, because it's really good to be around the leadership to where they know how to work with each other. And it's really impressive, but it's really something we just take for granted now. And Andy and Adam and the city council, they put something together and do something. And then we get introduced to Dave Burns of the land bank. And it's really great when you go out to try to get something done and you're talking to someone who is looking for a way to make it happen. And so he's sitting back there. Will you stand, please? And so when I taught school, I kind of loved recess. And part of recess, we'd have three-legged sack races. Now, you all know this. If you're in a three-legged sack race, that if you're not working with each other and coordinated, you'll fall. And so what's happened to us in this development to work to put this together, our team, is that every place we went, from the land bank to the city council to the mayor, everyone was in lockstep to make something happen and be forward to live a foundation to be proud of making a difference here. And in Southwest Lansing, this will be the leadership in the city of Lansing, that we're going to show how to come here and work with everyone and make something that everyone is a go-to place. And this is our goal, is to make this a go-to community to come back into and go to. And so I'm just very good to say that back in a neighborhood that in some place I lived, we're going to make it better. We're not satisfied being where we are in Lansing. From the mayor to Adam to everyone else, we want to do what it takes to make this a go-to place, and everyone wants to be here. So, Chris, will you take over now, please? Thank you.
Everybody's been working hard with us, and so we're going to make this something special. And so I'm looking forward to come back out here when everything is up and really right to where everyone wants to come here, from the mayor to the council members and everyone else, trying to say our best years are ahead of us, and we can't get there if we're all not working hard together. And that's happening right now for Lansing and the land bank and everyone. And our state legislators, along with the council. So I think we got a lot of good years ahead of us with all of us working together, and we're going to make something special happen.